Welcome to Loose Model Boats. In my latest video, today I'm going to be discussing a 47-foot Coast Guard motor lifeboat that was originally made by Proboat probably about the year of 2008 to about 2014. It is okay. It's not anything great. I'm not a fan of ready-to-run boats because they wind up making things out of proportion anyway. One of the ways they cut back, if you look on the aft deck, and I'll remove the superstructure for a second, and we'll get back to that, is you can see these three compartments, so-called compartments. They're actually stickers that are on there, and they've kind of faded a little bit, yellowed a little bit. They're actually raised doors, so they shouldn't even be just printed. They did the same thing to the windows, although they are in a raised area here, but kind of flush here, and just stick on windows showing kind of a reflective finish to it. So again, I'm not that thrilled with ready-to-run boats, but I think that this thing could actually be made into a decent model. One of the big disappointments is the finish on it. The hull, the deck, the superstructure, everything on this thing was made out of welded aluminum, which actually, after a couple of years in salt water, gave it a dull, dark silver finish to it. So that is quite a bit different from the white. I'm being critical of this as I do scratch build a lot of boats, and I like to put a lot of detail, make it as accurate as possible. However, some of the detail on here is not too bad. We've got these deck plates here that swing up so that they have access to close to the water, and most of the time I've seen the boats operate, they've seen them operate with these deck plates up. But I think that this is going to fall down, so maybe there might be a way, depending on what I want to do again, of actually locking these things so that they will stay in the upright position. The boat does have some other damage to it other than the missing parts. Down underneath the hull here, it looks like there's a couple of things that kind of got messed up down here. I don't know how much it's going to take sanding and filling. The rudder's got some little nicks in them, and I think it's all repairable, and when I'm done I'll hopefully have a halfway decent looking boat. I don't know about the stickers on the side here. It says U.S. Coast Guard. I think that looks a little bit big, and it also looks like somebody put those on a little bit crooked. So if I can get those off and make some decals that go on there and really coat them over well, I think that'll look a lot better. And the same thing with the numbers on the bow and on the stern. When the boat came, it had the AM radio, the old style radio with the telescoping antenna, and of course you could see the large antenna for the receiver. So what I wanted to do is swap that out because it doesn't work. But the batteries that were in there were left in there for years and swollen up, and everything's rusted out inside. So we'll toss that. We'll go to a 2.4 gigahertz radio. The boat came with blinking lights, which I thought, well, it's pretty cool. There's a circuit in there. Then when I took it apart and looked on the inside, I saw no connection down to where you would turn the lights on here. Wow, that's weird. And I noticed that there was wires going to the magnets that held the boat down. So these are actually dual purpose. Might have to get cleaned up a little bit. I see a little kind of adhesive on there or something. When you put that down and plug it in, turn it on, the lights blink up here. Well, that's great, except that these are running lights, and running lights don't blink. And I'd like to eventually get it so that the radar will rotate, probably get a little geared motor or something up in here, and if I think I can get to the inside of these tubing, because that's where the existing wires run right now. They go down through the tubing in here. Get a better look at it. See it on this side and on this side, and maybe I can squeeze a few more thin gauge wires to get up there to operate that motor to turn the antenna, the navigation antenna. And while we're looking at this, I'm going to make some little comments here. This is all fiberglass. It's kind of thin fiberglass. This might be plastic up here, but the main part of the superstructure is fiberglass, which is good. It's nice and strong. The boat is well built. As I said, not too happy about the scale of it, which is fair, but it is well built inside. The hull is fiberglass. The 1/8-inch plywood looks like it's all laser cut and put together, sealed pretty good, all caulking around everything. For a boat that was used, I thought this is interesting. Usually in the used boats, you see rust around the motors. Well, I have yet to see any bit of rust. I don't feel anything on the bottom. They're nice and clean. Hopefully they'll operate real good. And so we have that, and then we have cooling. Now the cooling is kind of neat. The cooling water comes up through the rudder posts. That's the tube which inside the rudder turns. It's forced up through by the flow of the propellers, and it comes up, and one side goes to the electronic speed controller, which then goes over and out, and then the other side comes in one motor and jumps across, goes to the other motor and back out underneath the side deck here. So that's pretty interesting. We'll see if that works. And if it doesn't work real good, we can always put a little pump in there. It's not a big problem. Ready to go. Also need to tie down the batteries. They didn't have any tie down for them. I'll probably make a little saddle to go across there with some padding underneath and some screws to hold them down. And it's a good thing, because if you tilt the boat over, say if you had water in it and you want to tilt this thing over, you don't want these batteries just flopping around all over the place.